Let's go! Let's go!
Where's the parade?
Wow.
Go call 911.
You are blocking the traffic. You're trying to cripple my
Get out of here! Deplatform fascists! Deplatform fascists! Deplatform fascists! Deplatform fascists! Deplatform fascists!
911! 911!
Sir, you're out. You jumped out of your car because you're
blocking the traffic. No, he's gonna take off. Hey, he's gonna try to go.
China's about.
Hey, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash, and double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect. And I just was watching this, reading this article and watching a video. I'm going to play the video in the beginning of, this lesson. But as you see, it says, MAGA man pulls GUN during tussle with anti-Trump protesters. Okay, because I believe over the weekend on Saturday, there was about 1,200 various different anti-Trump protestings that was happening throughout the various different states in America. And, this is all, stuff that we see is bringing in the downfall of America, man, because you have people that are at, wits end, right? And already within 2 months or, about 2 months, a little bit over 2 months of Donald Trump's presidency, you have people, in uproar, okay? And the whole right versus left, right? The Democratic Party versus the Republican Party is boiling, getting to a boiling point where, these people that are caught in that snare, they're ready to, go to war with one another. All right. And the Lord, has prophesied, that these things were going to happen. All right. The Lord put the men of the Lord out here to give warning that all of these things are signs of the end of this age. See, so this isn't something that is a one-off event. Okay, it's not something that is, that's just that one person. This is a spirit that the Lord has poured out in Babylon the Great. Okay, America, which is, a perverse spirit, right? Let me pull that up in the book, Isaiah chapter 19. Let's go to verse 2. It says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians." Now this place is spiritually called, Egypt. All right. A place of, bondage, right? Straits. So it says, "And I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight every one against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom." Okay. So what is that called? Right. That is called civil unrest. And people are at a point where they're rather handle any situation violently. Okay. And not just violently in a sense of, a pushing and shoving, no, they're looking to delete each other. All right, and as it says back here, right? Because remember, the Lord said, "I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians." All right, let's go to this word. No, there's nothing over there, but yeah. So the Lord is the one that's putting the Spirit, on these people. Okay, as it says, where is that at? Verse 3. It says, "And the spirit of Egypt shall fail in the midst thereof." See? So that whole, united we stand, right? Patriotic mindset of, fellow Americans, we are strong together, all of that BS. That type of vibration is out the window. Okay, you have Americans that look at their fellow, neighbors as, enemies. Okay, yeah, based off of what your political party is, right? Based off of your social status, based off of your social views. Okay, that determines whether or not you're looked at as the op, right? The enemy within your own country. All right, and as the Lord said in the book of Mark, that a kingdom divided within itself cannot stand, right? Let's pull that. Mark chapter 3. It's Matthew. Mark chapter 3, verse 24. It says, "If a kingdom," you know what? I always like to get this in the NLT. I'll read it in the GNT. It says, "If a country divides itself into groups which fight against each other, that country will fall apart." And like I just said, America is divided, especially with, the whole political parties, because that's what this whole election leading up to Trump getting back in office, that's what the whole, rhetoric was all about, right? Especially coming from the so-called right, and even the left. They both were saying it. That, if this party wins, then we're going to have to go, there's going to be civil war, right? Or if this party wins, then we're going to have to fight, for our country. We're going to have to fight for our rights. So you have a country that is divided into groups, right? And those groups are willing to fight against each other. The Lord said what? That country, it will fall apart. All right. And that is what we're seeing. See, and we jump to verse, I'll keep reading. It says, "If a family divides itself into groups which fight against each other, that family will fall apart." And that's what you're seeing with the house of Esau. All right. All of the dukes of Edom, they're all fighting against, one another, whether it be, this trade war, right? Or you have, Russia fighting against the Ukrainians, Russia against NATO, America. Those are all Edomites at the end of the day. Okay. See, in the kingdom of heaven, the house of David, which is being, the breaches are being closed up now. And then ultimately the whole house of Israel is going to be united, just as in the times of Solomon. And once all Israel is united, right, in Yahushua, not in Christ. Okay. When all Israel is united in Yahushua, which starts now with the elect, then the Israelites will be the supreme dominant nation on the earth. And we're seeing how that curse, because that was a curse that the Lord put upon us, where your eye should be evil toward your brother, right, toward your neighbor. Well, that curse started once again with the elect is being uplifted. Okay, and those curses are being put upon our adversaries, chiefly Esau, Edom. And that is why you're seeing these Edomites, within America going against each other based off of what group, or social alliance they have. Right. So it says, "So if Satan's kingdom divides into groups, it cannot last, but will fall apart and come to an end." See, and that is what you're seeing happening in Babylon the Great. Okay, underneath Esau's rulership, and Esau is the end of the world, and his coming, right, is after the working of Satan. He will come to do the work of Satan, and Satan, his kingdom, once again, through Esau Edom is coming to an end, right? It has an end. Satan's kingdom, you know, the power of darkness isn't the everlasting kingdom, man. Okay, so let's read this. It says, a man in a MAGA hat pulled out a GUN during an altercation. And before, you know, I keep going, I'll put the disclaimer, you know, also up on there. But, you know, this isn't a video advocating for violence or anything like that. All we're doing is just going into the news, right, and saying, you know, what is happening in the world. Okay, which, you know, what is happening in the world is preordained by the God of heaven and earth. Okay, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Yahweh. All right, through his son Yahushua. And the Lord has put this purpose, right? He has a counsel, okay, he has a controversy, you know, against Babylon. See? So let's read it. It says, during an altercation with a group protesting the policies of the administration of the U.S. Donald Trump on Saturday, the protests, dubbed Hands Off, oppose the social and economic policies of Trump and his advisor Elon Musk. They have taken place in more than 1,400 locations around the U.S. The incident took place during one such protest near the courthouse in the town Lafayette, Indiana, according to a statement from the local police on Saturday. The situation escalated when the driver of a vehicle obstructed by the demonstrators got out of his car and was subsequently pushed and battered by individuals in the crowd, the statement said. The driver then retrieved a firearm from his vehicle in what he described as an act of self-defense. He did not discharge the weapon and promptly returned to his truck shortly after a male protester approached the driver and headbutted him, causing injury, the press release said. All right, so once again, you see, you know, how these people are becoming, you know, these protestings, right, are becoming more and more violent. All right, and this is why, you know, we always say, you know, you, the believers, you know, have no business, you know, being out here protesting, right? Because this isn't our kingdom. All right, we don't have any dog in the fight, you know, of the left versus the right. Okay, the two horns like a lamb. You see, and it would be wise, it would be circumspect to, you know, stay away from these things, man, because these spirits that are active there. And then you also have agent provocateurs that are purposely trying to incite, you know, people to you know, do things to get aggressive. All right, so, you know, that's why, once again, hey, we are just watching these things, man. But the Lord is ultimately the one that is you know, controlling this. Okay, so reading on, it says, videos circulating on social media show a man in a white MAGA hat arguing with protesters, raising both hands which were empty. During the altercation, a protester in a red and black hoodie is seen headbutting him in the face, which after which the man in the MAGA hat retrieves what appears to be an assault rifle from his car. The footage, taken from a different angle, the man can be seen wiping blood off his nose while holding the GUN at his hip. He repeatedly yells 911 at a woman in the car who is speaking into her phone. It says the driver was detained but released when found to have committed no crime, the police statement said. The protester who headbutted him is being sought, it added. The hands-off protesters claim that Trump has carried out an unprecedented power grab since taking office in January. They described his culling of the U.S. aid programs and other policies as tipping the country into a full-on crisis. See that? A full-on crisis. And, you know, you have him laying off governmental workers, a lot of people which voted for Trump, right? And now they're, you know, in a position where they're angry, right? They feel deceived and duped, And so you have now you have the whole thing happening with the stock market, today, and they're talking about this is just the beginning of it. So you're gonna have a lot of people, that are going to resort to getting physical, man, because they're at a point, right, of the tipping point, right, the boiling point. And when you have people in a desperation mode, what that saying goes, when you have nothing to lose, you lose it. And the it is what? Your self-control, right? You lose your ability to reason, right? Your ability to make rational decisions. And you just say, what? I got nothing to live for. And you start wilding, right? And that is what you're about to see happening, here in Babylon the Great. Okay, this is the book of 2nd Ezra, chapter 2. Salakia. That's what I wanted. 2nd Ezra, chapter 15, verse 14. It says, "Woe unto the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. And one people shall stand up and fight against another." One group of people, right, are going to stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And this is what? Prophecy. Okay, a vision. It says, "For there should be sedition among men, and invading one another, they shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." Okay, so the fact that you have this these 1,400 different protesters, happening against the president of the United States, right? And remember, Trump said that it was a red wave, right? That he got a unprecedented amount of votes. He smashed the elections. And when you looked at the how they show the U.S. map and then it's all red, it would appear that he had a majority of almost everybody's votes. So where are all these people at that are now protesting against him? Like I said, a lot of them are people that actually voted for Trump, and they thought that things were going to be different, that he was going to, bring in a time of peace for them and prosperity. But in reality, what this guy is doing is really the biddings of the elites, right? And he portrays himself to be somebody that is going against, the elites and the globalist plan. But it's all, smoke and mirrors. It's all a show, because at the end of the day, what do they want to do? They want to collapse this society, collapse this way of people, the market rather, or people, the way that people operate, and bring in that new system. All right, so I'm not going to make this too long. I just want to bring this out because, like I said, this is prophecy happening in real time, man. And these things are only going to escalate as the tensions, and the hell continues to rise, and things get worse and worse here in Babylon the Great. All right, and this is why you got to always, like I say, as the scripture says, watch and pray always, that you may be found worthy to escape these things. Because if the Lord doesn't deliver, you in those times, or Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua is not with us in these times, then, hey, as Ezra said, who shall deliver me in those days? Okay, so, that's pretty much it. Lord willing, this is edifying unto the elect, giving all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash. Shalom.